Oh, look at that, our faces.
Hey, look, we're faces. We're here. Welcome back to the Super Show. I'm back from 2 weeks of nonsense. Nonsense and silliness. Nonsense and silliness. Hey.
What? I can do the camera?
Phil's yelling at me. Anyway.
I can do.
Welcome back, everybody. We're going to get to topics in a minute. For right now, don't forget to go to Heaven PNW.com to check our stuff. We got pre-release on Friday. Ooh, pre-release on Friday for Lord of the Rings. All of our Lord of the Rings stuff is here. Phil did a cool opening stream, so if you want to see some of the cool stuff that we got that we're going to have in the case on Friday, because Phil, we're putting those in the case on Friday, right? We actually got some crazy cards. Phil found two of them. One's 500, one's 800. Yeah, there's some bonkers cards in the stuff. But if you want to see a preview,
it's some crazy ass shit, yo.
Yep, of what we were doing, of what we got. The stream is live on YouTube.
Do you feel uncomfortable?
Talking into my neck.
Don't worry, we're gonna make everybody more uncomfortable. So don't forget, we got pre-release on Friday. To check the full event schedule, go to Heaven PNW.com and go see all that stuff. Where was I? I was doing stupid army things. We were doing a division level exercise against the Russians.
Tropia.
Is that?
No, we're not even doing a trophy anymore. They straight up just said no.
I have to know. Did they call it a DLE because they love acronyms?
No.
Okay.
This was just called a warfighter. So there. So topic number one, and what I promised Pete was going to be the easiest thumbnail you have to do. Topic number one today is bat nipples.
Aha!
Okay.
They've returned.
And to some of you, that will make sense. If you were over the age of about 35, when I said bat nipples, you immediately went, what? And why am I saying bat nipples? Because of the Flash movie.
Michael Keaton, best
Nope.
Batman.
But, so here's the thing, but Michael Keaton didn't have the bat nipples, if you recall, right? He had
He didn't too.
No, he dn't. They didn't bring the bat nipples, and I'm going to get to that in a second.
I know which one it was. But
So
continue.
the Flash movie is out now, and from all accounts, it's really, really good. There's some mildly questionable CGI. We're going to start off in non-spoiler territory. No, Val Kilmer didn't even have bat nipples. Val Kilmer still had the rubberized suit, but not the bat nipples.
What?
No, he did not.
I could have sworn it was Kilmer.
It was not Kilmer.
Now I have to do bat nipple research.
You have to do bat nipple research.
Was it Clooney?
It was Clooney's Batman, but we're going to talk about. See, somebody in the chat got it. It was Clooney's Batman. So here's the thing. So obviously the stuff that you know, Flash goes back. This is based on the Flashpoint comic book storyline. Flash goes back in time to save his mom. When he comes back forward in time, oh no, the universe has changed.
Here's nipples now.
Batfleck is gone, and now it's Keaton, right? And he meets a younger version of himself, where he, and so with himself, he must battle. We're going to stay out of spoilers for a minute, but we're going to talk spoilers.
We'll tell you
soon. And so mute the tab when we get into spoiler territory. Yeah, everything about this film, everybody says it's great. It's really good.
Good.
I know there's some controversy with Ezra. Ezra did come to the premiere, but did not take questions from the press for that thing.
I mean, good idea.
I read the statement that they made at the premiere, and I think that whether they wrote it or their PR team, I think it was really well done. They thanked Warner Brothers for their patience and grace with the situation that's been going on with them for some time now. They're obviously still in the middle of some of their legal troubles, and they're getting treatment. And from what we know, they are trying to do better. I agree with a lot of the other commentators. I don't think Ezra should ever be the Flash again. I think that they have burned that bridge.
I mean, I think everybody understood that, it's already filmed. Yeah,
We got to do it.
we can't spend another, 30 million refilm.
One of my favorite commentators put it this way. Ezra Miller is a hired hand, right? Mm-hmm. This is Andy Muschietti's film. This is the screenwriter's film, right? So as to when it came out, there's some fan preview stuff coming. And actually, we're going to talk about that because there's some interesting stuff that happened with some of the preview stuff yet. There's one thing I have to spoil. I'm sorry. I got to do it.
I will flash my hands
and
like
he will
this.
Pete will flash his hands, and you can mute the tab for a couple of minutes. But there's some stuff that happens in this that I'm very curious about how it's going to affect the future of the DCU. So the Flash is out. So he goes back in time. He does stuff. They do things, and they come back and forth. and Keaton's in it, and everybody tells me that Keaton does a phenomenal job.
Of course he does.
Sasha Kaye does a phenomenal job. So somebody in the chat said this is not Flash, this is Batman 3. Batman's still a supporting character. Batman is not the main character. They did a lot of that with the marketing, I think, to get away from Ezra and the Ezra problems. They didn't want the Ezra problems.
Plus, let's be real, Batman's kind of the DCU anchor.
Batman is one of the Holy Trinity.
Yeah.
Right? Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Okay? And so bringing Keaton back was a cool choice. And so for our younger viewers, or anybody that didn't know, so Warner Brothers has actually had DC, has owned DC since 1967. Right? Now, Batman, the first Batman with Michael Keaton came out. It was directed by Tim Burton, right? And
Yes,
it was
it
a very
was.
Burton-esque film. And it was Michael Keaton, and they did, it was the Jack Nicholson Joker, which I thought he made a pretty interesting Joker. It's definitely a very different Joker than what you're used to, especially nowadays. But he did a really good Joker. And Keaton did 2 films, Batman and Batman Returns. The first one with Joker, and then they started the kind of 2-villain trend with Batman Returns because you had Catwoman and the Penguin.
Danny DeVito as the Penguin.
As the Penguin.
Oh my God.
Okay. Something happened between Burton and Warner Brothers. And again, all this is going to relate to the Flash movie in a minute, so stick with us. Burton had some issues with Warner Brothers, so Warner Brothers switched to Joel Schumacher, right? And they recast Batman as Val Kilmer. Now, the interesting thing about this is it was always, especially in this era of film, you gotta remember this is all pre-MCU, pre-everything, right? These are early comic book movie days.
Yep.
It was the same universe. It was just a recast, right? That Val Kilmer refers to events in Batman and Batman Returns, right? The Val Kilmer Batman does. And for the continuity, they kept the same Alfred, same Commissioner Gordon, same of a bunch of people.
Right.
The big change was Batman. And then with the Val Kilmer Batman, we get Chris O'Donnell as Robin. That's the intro, is Chris O'Donnell as Robin.
Yeah.
And our 2 villain there was our Jim Carrey Riddler and our Tommy Lee Jones Two-Face, right? It's so 90s it hurts.
That's right. Tommy Lee Jones was Two-Face.
It's so 90s. It's great. Then there was another issue with the studio, and Kilmer walked away. Kilmer was like, nope, not doing it again, right? So that was Kilmer's Batman. So they recast Batman as George Clooney. Again, same universe. Chris O'Donnell comes back, he returns as Robin, and we make the final one in this 4-movie set. And a lot of people would like to set, they're not. They're the same series, right?
Yeah, they didn't repeat villains, did they?
No, and then the last set of the double villain again, so 90s, was Arnie, good old Arnold Schwarzenegger as
In his
Mr. Freeze,
heyday.
right? And Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy. And then we also have the introduction of Batgirl, played by Alicia Silverstone in that film, who they retconned her origin. She's related to Alfred in this series. But keep in mind, again, this is all the same one. The Keaton Batman in that series was the Clooney Batman. They're all the same guy.
Okay.
They just kept recasting,
Okay.
right?
So I'm guessing that they chose Keaton as like the Batman for that quadrilogy. They
So
didn't bring in.
you'd think
Did I flash my hands?
pretty soon.
Okay.
Okay, so we have this. Now, the George Clooney one is when they introduced bat nipples. And that was the first movie. They gave the Batman suit nipples, and everybody went, why? Why, Joel Schumacher? Why did you do it? Why did you do it? And then he also had the bat credit card, and it was just, and the Clooney one was the epitome of cheese. Don't mention the horror of Clooney. Just wait. Just wait. Okay? So, we have the bat credit card, we have the stuff. It's super cheesy. We get the super cheesy lines from Arnold, things like that. Now, the Clooney Batman is largely blamed now for messing that franchise. Like, Batman's dead now. Because it takes them 10 years before they come back to the well, before Warner Brothers comes back with one of the most popular comic book characters of all time, but they come back with the Christian Bale, Christopher Nolan Batman.
Yeah, they came back hard.
They came back hard. Okay, TikTok chat's like, what did you do to the Ice Age? Okay. So now with Flash movie, we know Michael Keaton's in it. That's been all over the previews.
Yeah.
That's not a spoiler, right? We see the classic Batmobile in the thingy. He has the line, "You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts."
Let's get nuts.
Right? From the first movie. That's all great. So
Nipples cut through the air.
2
there.
months ago, so here's where I'm not going to get into spoilers. 2 months ago, and I started hearing rumors about this 3 weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago. At CinemaCon this year, which happened 2 months ago, they screened the entirety, or what they said was the entirety, of the Flash movie for all of the theater owners, so they could build some hype for it.
Okay.
And everybody's like, this is a great movie, da-da-da-da-da. At the end, then there's a cut to black, right? Go to the credits. And everybody thought that was the end.
Right.
It's not. They didn't show the real ending to the cinema owners. Okay? Last couple of days they've been doing previews of the thing. Now, you can actually go see it today if you want to go see it. Okay?
Okay.
So,
Now
go
I
ahead and
see
flash your hands on the screen.
Spoilers.
Mute it if you don't want to hear this. But for those of you talking about Clooney. So, Barry does a double back and forth with his time travel. Here's your spoilers. Okay? So, end of the movie, this Flashpoint, right? We all know how the Flashpoint movie story goes. Barry goes back, saves his mom, fucks up the multiverse. Okay, can't do that. Goes back in time again. Chooses not to save his mom because his mom, it's like a fixed point in time. We're going to talk about that when we get to Spiderverse, right? Goes back forward, goes, wait, I can still save my dad because his dad's alibi wasn't there. And so he goes back in time again, moves the can of tomatoes that his dad has to go to the store for so that his dad looks up at the camera so they can prove his dad wasn't home when his mom died. Okay? So in the film, he goes back, he moves the camera, and he goes back forward in time. And he walks up to Bruce. It's George Clooney.
Oh. I see.
Clooney's in the movie.
Clooney
is the final Batman in the film.
So that's kind of like that movement changed everything, sort of butterfly effect type of
And
deal?
so the first one, so we start the movie with Batfleck,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And Batman basically tells him, when you go back in time and do stuff, it's going to change things. So when he goes back in time and saves his mother and comes forward again,
Yeah.
Batfleck has been replaced by Michael Keaton. Right? So it's become a different Batman because he changed history.
Oh.
When he goes back a second time to do the tomato trick, now keeping in mind, Keaton, Kilmer, and Clooney were all the same Batman.
Yeah.
When he
Okay.
goes back forward in time, it's Clooney. He's replaced Keaton with Clooney.
That's pretty fucking brilliant. I'm digging that. Okay, now I want to see the movie.
Okay.
Should I flash?
You might want to wait one more minute.
Okay.
So here's the interesting thing, and this is why. And I can't find any confirmation or not confirmation. We know, because James Gunn has said, the future of the DCU, what the first 4 or 5 films are, right?
Okay. Good.
We know the first Batman film they're doing in the new DCU is based on the Brave and the Bold, right?
Okay.
Which involves Damian Wayne. It's going to be an older Batman. It's going to be an older Batman whose son is now his third Robin.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So I don't know. So either this is the biggest gag in the history of fucking movies,
Yeah.
right? Or James Gunn just very quietly let everybody know that the Batman for the new DCU
Yeah.
is Clooney.
Oh, God. Okay.
Right?
Holy. This is.
And it's going to be old Batman, and Damian Wayne's going to be his son. And by this point in the timeline, this is his third Robin. So Chris O'Donnell's done being Robin. Could we get 45, 50-year-old Chris O'Donnell as Nightwing?
Dude. Does he still act?
Yeah, he does NCIS Los Angeles. He's on like season 19 or 20 of that.
Okay. Fair.
With LL Cool J.
So he's just keeping his chops warm. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So,
Should we flat?
so wait, one more second.
One
so
more.
What do you think?
James Gunn directed this, or is he just leading the parade?
James Gunn's just leading the parade. Now, he's going to direct the first Superman film. And no word on Batman Brave and the Bold. But the rumor is it's Andy Muschietti, who just directed Flash.
They've been so scattered with like storytelling anthologies. This is honestly probably the best way they could have tied it all together.
Goofy, right?
Jesus.
Bat
Okay.
nipples are back.
Wow. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm gonna.
Okay. Spoilers are out.
You're
Spoilers
good.
are done. You're good.
You're good. I'm gonna type it in chat. Okay.
Did I blow your mind? A little bit?
Oh, it's a Charlie Day yarn wall. Okay. That's great. Good. I'm excited now. For the first time, I'm excited for the DC universe.
I really want to know if this is what they're doing, because if this is what they're doing, here's the thing. I love James Gunn. Like, Guardians 3 was great. He did great with the Guardians movies. The second Suicide Squad movie, the one that he did, was great. Peacemaker was great.
Yeah, it was.
Right? So, here's the thing. James Gunn has guts. For
Yeah,
sure.
he does.
For sure. James Gunn's got guts.
Dude.
Now, if this is the game, again, this is either the biggest gag in history or, oh my God, he is going so big with his new DCU that I don't know what to expect at this point.
You know, for a while, I thought the DC universe was a plane that wasn't even, it was just nose down, like 90 degrees to the ground. But for some, I guess he's a wizard because he seems like.
And again, he's resetting, he's doing stuff. Whoa. Now, I think we're going to get some more confirmations, probably right around Comic-Con. When is San Diego Comic-Con?
Let me check it out.
I don't know when San Diego is. Somebody in the chat, tell me when San Diego Comic-Con is.
I'm Googling now. July 20th through the 23rd this year.
Yeah, so a month. I think we're going to find out in a month. I think they've already casted their Superman. I think I now am firmly believing they've casted their Batman for James Gunn's new DCU. I think that's happened.
I don't want to make a joke, but it might be spoilers. But
So yeah, there you go. So there's your thumbnail.
Holy crap.
Right? This is why I came in, like, I asked Pete, I came in strong this morning. I was like, I already know what topic number 1 is. I know how I'm opening it.
You think you know what the thumbnail is, but it's really just going to be a close-up of the bat nipples.
And that's what I thought it was going to be. That was what I assumed. Pete, go ahead and throw that topic into the chat topic. We will talk about that at the end.
Whoa. Okay.
I'm going to address that one.
Thank you, Dog Dad.
So,
Oh my God.
So that's the future. All right, so that's our first topic. Let us know what you think. If you watch this later on YouTube, put comments down below. Oh my God.
God damn.
And I assumed that your thing. That's why I started with bat nipples, because I assumed that was going to be your thumbnail. Is bat nipples.
Okay. I thought you were like, this is the big surprise. They brought the nipples back. No, there's more.
Okay. Topic number 2. Across the Spiderverse has now been out for a couple of weeks. We're going to go pretty light on the spoilers here. So Across the Spiderverse is out, and it is blowing the first movie away box office wise.
It was advertised.
As advertised. It's really good. It's really, really well done. There were some parts that okay, so I want to separate this out. Mm-hmm. So the film is really, really good. There was a couple things in the film that I personally was like, I don't like this style of storytelling.
Okay.
Right? Little things that just annoyed me. Right? And I know are very personal to me. Mm-hmm. Right? And I was like, oh.
I want to guess now, but.
Okay. If you haven't seen it yet, what you should expect going in is Empire Strikes Back. Okay? This is, and we know it is because we got Beyond the Spider-Verse, which supposedly is coming out next year.
Wait, is that an animated or is that a
Yeah.
Tom Holland one?
No, Beyond the Spider-Verse is next year. And we're going to talk about that in a second. We know this is a trilogy. We know it's coming this. This one very much ends, it's a very Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
Right? In that it ends with, oh crap, here's your symbol of hope. Like, you know at the end of Empire when it's like Han's taken off.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And they're like, oh no, Han's been captured. But then, Lando's like, we're going to go get him. And then you see Luke and Leia at the end to give you that kind of like light at the end of the tunnel.
It's the Two Towers type of thing too, of like, oh, we keep going.
Yep. So Across the Spider-Verse ends in a very similar way. Without getting into specifics, it ends with a, oh crap, here's your light at the end of the tunnel. The new Spider people are hilarious, right? Of
course.
Okay. Spider-Punk is great. A lot of people expected him to go back to the well with the people who were in the first Spider-Verse movie. And aside from Gwen, they didn't. Right? So you're introduced to a bunch of new Spider people. You have Spider-Man India, right? who,
Okay.
interesting, like, somebody was doing a cross connection. So Haley Steinfeld does the voice of Spider-Gwen in
Okay.
Across the in the Spider-Verse movies.
Okay.
She's also the girl in the Hawkeye show. She's Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye show, right? The guy who plays Spider-Man India is Derpinder from Deadpool.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Spider-Man 2099 is
Isn't it
he's a primary character in the film, and he is played by Oscar Isaac, who also played Moon Knight.
brilliant? Which, yeah.
Just how many different Marvel movies can we do all at once?
I mean, if you've got somebody and you're like, you know what, I know that they work. Like, I know that they're good at this.
Yeah, he does, and he does a phenomenal job as Spider-Man 2099. He's a great Miguel O'Hara.
Let's put it this way. There's a reason that Martin Scorsese works with the same people over and over. You
Because
build
it works.
It
Yeah.
works, and you build a rapport, and you know what you're getting into.
Sony with this series has knocked it out of the park. Miles has his own Spider-Verses. Yeah, I mean, the art styles are really interesting because, again, what's really cool is as you transition between universes, the background art style changes, while the way that the character is animated stays the same.
That's cool.
And the most you see of that is Spider-Punk.
Yeah.
So Spider-Punk's very like zine, like, and he was actually
Yeah.
filmed. They offset certain animated things off the frame rate to make it feel jarring, right?
I dig that.
And no matter what world he's in, it keeps that, right?
The animation, I haven't seen it yet, but I saw the first movie. But the whole time, my jaw was just like on the floor with the animation.
The
Like,
animation
this
is
so good.
better. We do get some other fun stuff. We do go to the Spider World like they show in the previews.
Yeah.
So we get Spider T-Rex, Spider Cat, PS4 Spider-Man.
Do we get a Spider Pig?
Well, we had Spider-Ham in the first movie.
Did we?
Yeah.
I need to go back. Clearly, I need to go back
Yeah.
and watch it again. Oh no!
Spider-Rex, Spider-Cat, Ben Parker from the Clone series of fucking Spider-Man from the 90s. He's played by Andy Samberg. And he hams it up freaking beautifully.
Of course he does.
I love it. So good job, Andy Samberg, on playing Ben Parker.
I mean, just good job, Andy Samberg.
Yeah, it really is really, really well done. So make sure you go see Across the Spider-Verse. I want this movie to do really, really well. It's doing great domestically,
Good.
but it's doing crap overseas. And I don't know why. I don't know what it is about this particular film. And the first Spider-Verse movie was the same way. It didn't do well overseas.
I have some thoughts, but I'm not. But I'll leave it in my.
I
brain.
just wonder if it's just that the animation is just not that big over there, like in foreign markets.
Yeah. Again, I'm gonna leave that thought in my head. Potentially.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's opened across most of, I think, Japan and a couple others. It's still waiting to open, but and I haven't seen box office numbers from them. But it's doing well. Like, it's doing solid.
Good.
It's made $328 million so far.
Oh, so it's ready to go. Like they're already considering it. Then like we're good. We're in,
Oh yeah, I mean they had already greenlit Beyond the Spider-Verse. You see so many Spider-Men in these.
which is great.
Yeah.
Like I feel like so Amazing Spider-Man and Spectacular Spider-Man, Uncanny. Like those are the stereotypical like Spider-Man, right? That's what everybody knows.
Yep.
But there are so many offshoots, and this maybe goes into like the boom of comics in the 90s and thus the downfall of comics in the 90s due to oversaturation.
Mm-hmm.
There were so many different ones that it was hard to keep up with, and it kind of fell by the wayside. So people were like, there's too many Spider-Man. But each one was just so cool in its own way. You only have so much love and attention to give, and you can't give it to necessarily 18 different Spider-Man.
No. Again, the other buzz on this movie is that it'll be the 4th or 5th animated feature of all time. They think it's going to get nominated for Best Picture. Like,
Yeah.
not just Best Animated Feature, which it won. So when Into the Spider-Verse came out, it won Best Animated Feature that year at the Oscars. This year, a lot of people feel like there's no way you can't nominate this for Best Picture. Like, overall.
what do we got? I mean, this year, I don't know. It's okay. So I don't normally go to theaters. Like, I'll wait until stuff comes out. But man, the releases this year.
Oppenheimer's coming.
I mean, you also have to consider Mario. You also got to consider
Mario's not going to get nominated for Best Picture. While it box officed well, and I think it'll get nominated for Best Animated. Mario. Okay, I want to make sure you guys understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Mario's a very fun movie. I very much enjoyed watching Mario with my little one.
Yeah.
It's not a good movie.
Okay.
And by that I mean, put it into two realms. There's movies we enjoy,
Yeah.
and there's movies that are well done, right? And then there's a Venn diagram that are both, right? So there are films, and we've talked about this on the show before, there are films that I think are brilliant films. Schindler's List, Munich, things of that nature. Look, those movies are phenomenal achievements in filmmaking.
Yeah.
I will never watch them again because they're not fun to watch.
True.
They're not
True.
entertaining, right? I will watch them for the experience of watching those films, seeing them, but I will.
Well, I guess my question is,
And so what Spiderverse does, what Across the Spiderverse does is it does successfully combine that. It is not only very entertaining,
yeah.
but it is also an achievement in filmmaking.
ODS, I don't care much for. Usually, I find the stuff that's been nominated for an like best movie by Oscar is usually not my cup of tea. But in the movie industry, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a bragging rights type of thing. Of like, if you come into a project with that like attached to your name, you get a lot of leeway.
Here's the thing: having an Oscar under your belt is it's a huge thing in the industry.
It's almost carte blanche.
Almost. You're definitely going to have much more creative control if you win an Oscar.
Yeah.
And it will open a lot of doors for you, right?
Yeah.
The guys who made Everything Everywhere All at Once, they're just little tiny indie filmmakers, right? They won Best Picture this year on an indie darling, right?
So that made me so happy.
Okay, Everything Everywhere, and you know what? The day after the Oscars, every studio in the country is beating down their door to get their next movie.
Are we getting more comfortable, or whoever the voting board is for the Oscars?
It's starting to get younger.
That's what my question was going to be. We're starting to get a little more comfortable with the weird stuff because Everything Everywhere All at Once is weird.
Yes.
And I remember we saw it, and then when you said they won Best Picture, they swept the Oscars. I was like, that's not traditionally the type of film it gets.
No, so the voting block has gotten bigger and it's gotten younger. There's over 7,000 voting members of the Academy, right? So we got to separate them out. So you have in the awards season, and these are the big ones, right? You have the Globes, right? Of which there's like 35 voting members. That's it, right?
Ooh.
It's the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. That's it. Okay. Then you've got the Guild Awards, right? Which are SAG. SAG is the big one, right? That's the Screen Actors Guild. That is only voted on by members of the guild.
Okay.
Right? So that's actors rating other actors.
Right.
Right? The Academy is very broad. Now, just because you're a member of the Academy doesn't mean you're allowed to vote on every award. Right? Like there's qualifications. So if you're a film editor and you're part of the Academy, you'll get to vote on achievement in film editing and Best Picture, but you don't get to vote on Best Actor.
Okay.
Right? Like that's not how it works.
Okay.
Right? So, yeah, I mean, Everything Everywhere All at Once cleaned up this year. I mean, cleaned up at all the award shows. So, yeah, I think they're getting more used to weird. I don't think Spiderverse is going to win Best Picture, but I think that if it gets nominated, which I think it will be, because as again, one of the other commentators that follow, there's not 9 better movies that are coming out this year for this.
No.
And if there are 9 movies better than Across the Spiderverse that come out this year, it'll be the greatest year of film ever.
This is we're having a pretty good year so far.
And again, this is where people talk about comic book movie fatigue. There's no comic book movie fatigue. There's bad movie fatigue.
Yeah, okay. That's a good way to put it.
Okay, look at Guardians. Guardians 3 did phenomenally well. It did over 800 million.
Right.
Right? Ant-Man did 426. Okay? Because it was only okay. right? Across the Spiderverse did 120 million domestically its first weekend
Yeah.
because people went and saw the movie and then went and saw it again, right? It's a good film. People are going back to see it again and again.
And you go see it.
You really should. I highly recommend it.
There's my list of movies this year is growing.
This one though, like catch it in theaters. This is one that I think is worth. That's the other thing I'll say to the audience. This is one I think is worth watching in theaters.
I will have to, and I'm going to talk about how, like, what I look at in filmmaking and filming for a second. I should go see it in theaters, but I will have to watch it again on home release.
Yes.
Because
I will
my
too.
brain, whenever it comes to, so for those of you who don't know, I have a history in graphic design. It's what I went to school for originally, and whenever I'm watching films, I kind of like acting sometimes can take a back seat because I'm looking at how scenes are composed and like the art and everything. And Spiderverse from the trailers is so just like drinking from a water hose with design and movement. I know I'm going to be overwhelmed in the theater, so I'm going to have to watch it again on home release to shrink it down so I can analyze like a little better.
I don't know how all the Easter egg ones, because I've been watching a couple of YouTube videos on all the Easter eggs in that movie, all the different versions of Spider, because like the PS4 Spider-Man is in there, right?
Yeah.
Like there's so many Spider people, and there's so many little Easter eggs and silly shit that like, I don't know, I mean, some of these guys must have seen it like 3 times already to catch all of them, because there was no way. Anyway, I said, if you haven't seen it yet, I totally recommend it. It's been out a couple weeks. Let's get them across the line with some good box office numbers.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them do 500 million on this one.
I think that's...
I think it's very doable. Now, the problem is Flash is coming out this weekend. I don't know how well Flash is going to do. The problem is there's so much controversy around this film. And I think the marketing's been good. I just don't know how much people care. I think that one of the reasons they've been doing so many test screenings of this and so many fan screenings is they're really trying to build hype for this film. So take that for what it's worth.
Stop
all right.
Recording there. I'm going to chop that one up.
Yeah. For what it's worth. All right. Topic number 3. For those that haven't heard, Ravensburger, the creator of Lorcana, got sued. They got sued by Upper Deck. And I sat down and finally got to read the lawsuit.
Yeah, please.
This is a funky one. It's a super funky one because it kind of crosses 2 lines. One is IP, and so patent and copyright, right? And the other is employment contracts.
Okay.
Right. So here's the background on this. Upper Deck had hired a designer, a fairly well-known game designer, to work on a as yet unreleased TCG for them, right? They were involved in Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in the day. They've done a bunch of stuff, right? But Upper Deck is not known for TCGs, but they've done some, right? So they hired a designer by the name of Ryan Miller, right?
Yes.
This was a few years back. He works for Upper Deck for a period of time. Now, what Upper Deck is alleging is 2 things. One, that before he ended his contract with Upper Deck, he was already in talks with Ravensburger on Lorcana. Okay? And number 2, that after he left Upper Deck, he had access to confidential work product that he had worked on with Upper Deck, right? That belonged to Upper Deck, and that he took that work product with him to Ravensburger and used that used some of those mechanics as a basis to build Lorcana.
Dog Dad, the TLDR, and we'll do more details. Upper Deck is suing Ravensburger, the creator, the company that's publishing whatever, the Disney Lorcana card game, because one of their employees used to previously work for Upper Deck. And there's some, as Alex explained, some overlap.
So, specifically, Ravensburger calls out 2 mechanics in their lawsuit. Now, here's the trick. it is generally settled law. And so here's somebody in the chat. I thought you can't copyright protect mechanics. Yes and no. And this is where it gets funky. So you cannot. So copyright doesn't cover mechanics. What would normally cover mechanics, and this is settled in video game law and a lot of other laws, is patent law, right? So I can't patent the concept of I use the right trigger to fire a gun, right?
Yep.
There was a famous case way back in the day when what they called Doom clones started coming out, right? About whether you could patent the concept of first-person shooters. And what the courts determined was that you can't patent broad mechanics.
Yeah.
Right? I can't patent the concept of rolling a d20 to determine the outcome of an action.
Which
Okay?
was kind of some consternation in January
Right.
as well.
So you cannot patent those. Copyright attaches in the specific way that you express it.
Okay.
Okay? That's where copyright comes into play. And again, there's some weird gray areas in here. Okay? So, what Ravensburger or what Upper Deck is alleging is two specific mechanics is really the two that they call out, which are atypical for TCGs, right? And B, were designed for their game, right? That now appear in Lorcana. The reason they waited to sue is they waited until they saw the Lorcana rules when Ravensburger's already released the rule set.
Yeah, we saw them.
Right? They waited until they saw what the rule set said. And the minute they looked at it, they went too close. And so again, they're not even necessarily alleging infringement of patent or copyright. What they're alleging is theft of work product.
Right.
Right? And the thing is that if they're right, you might not be able to release Lorcana in its current state because it's theft of trade secrets, right? So the two mechanics that they call out specifically is this. One, the way you build, so we all know like Pokemon has energy, Magic has mana, right? The way Lorcana works is you mill your cards into the center to get the power you need to cast cards.
Okay.
Right? So as opposed to having like a mana card or an energy card, you mill your deck
Yes.
to get energy, basically. Ink is
Yeah.
what they call it. That's one, because it's an atypical mechanic. It's not normal, right? And they're like, this was something specific we designed for our game, which is called Ruins of Icor, which hasn't released yet, still in development, that Ryan Miller knew we were using, and when he left us, he took it to Ravensburger. The other one is this, is unlike most TCGs where you're trying to knock an opponent down, whether it's Pokemon, both Ruins of Icor and Lorcana use the concept of a build up.
Yeah, you're building to a point.
You're building to a point. And so what they're alleging is that, again, Ryan Miller, being the guy that was working on this, developing this for Upper Deck, took those two concepts, had the work product, went to Ravensburger, and used them on Lorcana.
This seems like it could be pretty quickly dealt with just by looking at game design documents, the original date of them, and overlapping it with his employment history with them.
And the other thing that they're alleging is that he still had access to work product and accessed it after he had entered a contract with Ravensburger.
Yeah. So let me, cautionary tale here as a former design and IT professional. All right, folks, whenever you get a new job offer, if you know you're leaving, no matter how excited you are, you don't start working on your new stuff at your new place until you're fully gone.
Yep.
Because even if it's unintentional or you just have no idea, if there is overlap, all sorts of problems. So just have some patience. Sounds like he effed up. I mean, even if he
So here's the line from the suit. On information and belief, Miller, that's the designer, maintained access to draft rules, concepts, components, designs, marketing strategies, and plans for implementation, even after terminating his relationship with Upper Deck, and used, reference, or otherwise relied on those to create Lorcana for Ravensburger. Rather than allow Miller to honor the agreements and their terms, Upper Deck is informed and believes that Ravensburger induced and intended for Miller to breach his obligations to Upper Deck so it could capitalize on Miller's knowledge of the elements of Rush of Icor. The problem is, if there's emails,
Yeah.
if there's logs of him jumping into the server,
Yeah.
because you're an IT professional, you can tell when somebody logged into your server, can't you?
Yeah. I mean,
And downloaded stuff.
this is honestly. Thank you, Necrontier, for the biddies.
Thank you for the bits.
Honestly, like this seems like it's probably pretty open and shut right after Discovery. Discovery is going to make or break this, and there's not much presentation you really got to do.
So here's the interesting thing for us. Obviously, we've already put in pre-orders for Lorcana. We're expecting Lorcana to release. The first thing that Ravensburger asked for in their suit, which I think is going to be granted, is a restraining order. They want a TRO, a temporary restraining order, preventing Ravensburger from releasing Lorcana at all. They're mad because they're like, Ravensburger's already made money on Lorcana. Look at how much these cards are already going for on eBay.
Bro.
You need to, hey, judge, we would like to delay the release of Lorcana until this is settled. And here's the thing. I think a judge is going to grant him the TRO. I think the judge is going to go, yep, you can't release until this is settled.
So, if I may, the basis upon the popularity of those cards is largely not because it's a Ravensburger card game. It's because it's a Disney TCG.
Yep.
But that doesn't necessarily matter.
Oh, I'm sure Disney was knocking on Ravensburger's door the next day going, is this true?
Oh, I'm sure.
And I...
Dude, all right. I'm so excited for Lorcana. We all are.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, there is reason for this lawsuit, and I'm actually kind of, if it's true, on Upper Deck's side on it, but also in a selfish way, I'm like, just release the card game, please.
Here's the thing. If they win the suit, they can never release it. There is a way, because one of the things they asked for in the suit is, if we win, they can't release it. That's what they want. How are they on eBay? So last year at D23, they gave away promo cards, some promo cards to build hype for Lorcana at Disney's D23 event. And so it was a really limited run set of promo cards that they released that were going to be for the game. And Disney adults will pay loads of money. And TCG players will pay loads of money for cards. Lorcana will be like Magic Dragon. The more I read about it, the more I say no. It's like Magic in that it's a TCG. But honestly, I would say no.
No, it's
different.
It's part of the reason I'm excited for it is because Ryan, the same guy that actually kind of caused all this stir, the co-creator, is the guy that was like, hey, local game stores get it 2 weeks before Fred Meyer Target.
Yep.
And I was like, yo, okay.
And we're going to have strong organized play.
Yeah, he's like, aside from this whole lawsuit thing, everything he said, I'm like, yeah, brother, let's do it. It's also such a breath of fresh air from trying to beat your opponent down to getting across the goalpost and building yourself.
By the way, if they lose this lawsuit, he's never going to work again.
No, he won't.
That's like no big company.
Well, he'll go back to managing hobby shops like he did before.
I don't even think. I mean, that's gonna be tough. Because the fact of the matter is, holy crap, he will never be hired as a designer again.
No.
Ever. So stay tuned. We'll keep following this as this goes. I was just looking to see what it is. Ravensburger, for what it's worth, and we'll put this so that way YouTube doesn't get mad at us, has responded to claims calling them baseless and without merit.
Okay.
The statement continues that Ravensburger stands behind the integrity of its artists and staff, and they plan to continue with the scheduled launch.
So soon. It's like 2 months.
Yeah. For what it's worth, the lawsuit was filed in San Diego.
Okay.
And again, in the complaints, they're not alleging copyright or IP. It's breach of contract, breach of fiduciary duty, inducing breach of a written contract, which is what they're doing to Upper Deck. They're like, you made him breach his contract, right?
Okay.
Negligent interference with prospective economic relations, constructive trust, conversion, and unfair business practices.
Yeah. Yeah. breach of contract and or coercing someone to drop their contract early when it comes to talent and stuff like that is
Huge.
a huge deal. I know I always bring it back around, and I'll cut this part out. Pro wrestling, massive deal. In fact, the WWE won't even talk to somebody if they're still under contract at another company because they have so much money, and it just invites a lawsuit. And they'll be like, hey, nope, don't want to talk to you. Don't want to talk to you right now.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
In the lawsuit, you can find the lawsuit online. In it, they actually outline like the rules for Lorcana. Here's the rules of the game we've been working on. That's, again, I think they're going to get it.
Probably.
Let's bounce down to a chat topic. By the way, if you have a chat topic you would like to do, if you're watching this on YouTube or TikTok, drop your topics in the chat. We actually got plenty of time.
Interesting. I thought.
So if you have some chat topics you'd like for us to jump on, let us know. Drop them in there. Peter, grab them. Stick them in the rundown. I am going to jump to one of the things. Disney selling Star Wars back to Lucas. So this one started with a rumor from a guy named Doomcock. So for those of you that aren't in like the YouTube sphere, things like that, Doomcock is a troll YouTube guy, and things like that. And on one of his streams, him and a guy that he was streaming with claimed that they had heard that Disney was selling Star Wars, was considering selling Star Wars to get some cash back. And then the other guy said that he had heard that that Lucas was the prospective buyer. Okay,
is this better?
Things. Yeah, so Dog Dad, I think you were the one that brought this into the chat. So yeah, that's where the rumor originated, was Disney selling Star Wars back to Lucas. That's where it came from. It came from Doomcock. It's never going to happen. Not in a million years. Couple of reasons why. One, Lucas is 80 years old.
He didn't want to make no more movies.
He's 80 years old. If he wanted to pass it down to his kids, or if his kids had any desire to work on Star Wars, he would have done that. Right? Lucas, not like Lucasfilm didn't have any money, right?
Yeah.
You know.
Plenty.
They were fine, right? Disney bought them for $4 billion. Billion, right? So if he wanted to pass it down to his kids or give it to somebody else, he could have done that. He didn't. He sold it to Disney because he didn't want it anymore, and nobody he wanted to give it to wanted it. Him and Iger have a long-standing relationship. Star Wars has for decades had a long, strong relationship with Disney.
Yes.
Right? Pixar started as a division of Industrial Light and Magic, right? Which is owned by George Lucas. It was part of the sale, right? And spun off, and then Disney bought it, right? Like, again, Star Wars, Lucasfilm and Disney have had a long run together. My thought is if Lucas could buy it and give it over to Favreau and Filoni. The problem is that you can't give the company to them in the same way. Like, you can appoint them CEO, you can appoint somebody as head of it, but as far as ownership, it's hard. Disney had the cash. Yeah, Disney did have the cash.
Disney did have the cash, but also I don't think I'm not saying that you like want that to happen. I don't think you want Favreau and Filoni to own the company because then their attention is taken away from making films, and then that's focused on running a company.
I mean,
marginally.
So Disney could appoint Favreau and Filoni as co-heads of the studio. They could pull, which is what DC just did. DC took James Gunn and Peter Safran and said, here, you two, you're co-CEOs of DC Studios. Go. Right?
Smart move.
They appointed them as co-CEOs. Why? Because they can, and because they got a guy who's super creative, and they got a guy who understands the business of the film industry, right, in Peter Safran. Right? He's a long time executive producer of a lot of very successful films.
When did they make that move?
6 months ago?
Well, it's clear they're working.
We're really going to find out when the new Superman movie comes out. And get rid of Kennedy. Look, So, two things. Kathy Kennedy overall, I am not particularly happy with that. Again, I've heard the rumors too and seen these, and from what I consider to be reputable sources, I think she'll be out by the end of the year, right? Kathy Kennedy being there is not Disney's fault.
No.
Disney didn't do that. As part of the deal, to sell Lucasfilm to Disney, George appointed Kathy Kennedy the head of the studio.
I mean, okay.
And
yes.
and Disney said, fine, we will keep her as the head of Star Wars.
It happens in other places too. Like, she grew under the tutelage of Spielberg and Lucas, right? And when you got two heavy hitters like that, they're like, yo, take my protege here.
And Kathy Kennedy has got a great filmography. She has been the producer on some great films.
Yes.
Hang on.
If you look at her Wikipedia, I had to do that, and I was like, what is... stuff's not coming out?
She did Gremlins, E.T., Indiana Jones and the Temple of the Doom, Back to the Future, The Goonies, The Color Purple, The Money Pit, Empire of the Sun, Arachnophobia, Hook, Jurassic Park, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Back to the Future Part 2, Gremlins 2, Back to the Future 3, Sixth Sense, Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, I can't think of a band
Schindler's List
to compare her to that had just
banger
banger
after
after banger.
She will go down within the industry itself. She will go down as one of the greatest executive producers that has ever worked in the film industry. She can't do Star Wars for crap. Here's the thing. She can't run a studio. That's the issue. She can't run a studio. And that was the mistake they made, right? Running a full studio is not like just executive producing a film at a time or two films. She's trying to run a studio, and I just think she's not good at running a studio. She's not that type of exec, right? And that's not to say anything like she's not a bad person for this. I just think that she's mishandled the studio.
Can we just recognize there's some merit to just, after a career that long, just being fucking tired. Like, just a creative people, that creativity is not always firing, especially when you have to deal with the business end of it, and sometimes, like, it just doesn't happen. So I'm not saying like her brain's all dried up or anything, but like there's definitely some merit in just being tired.
So Disney selling Lucas back to Star Wars back to Lucas? No. Could Disney sell Star Wars? To who? The problem is to who?
Apple.
And if they're going to do that, they're going to sell all of Disney to Apple, right? Here's the one I'm going to liken it to. There's been a bunch of people who've said to me, man, why doesn't somebody buy D&D from Wizards? Who? The problem is that anybody who could afford it, you don't want to buy it.
Yeah.
And anybody that you want to buy it ain't got that kind of cash. Like, straight up.
Well, also, like, let's be real. If, say, a Disney were to buy D&D, do you know how much, like, D&D creativity would go down the drain because it has to be run through, like, 60 filters first?
And this is why Disney licenses that stuff to Ravensburger and other companies, right? This is why this stuff is done under license and not done by Disney.
An oil logo.
It's buying the Golden Goose from Hasbro. I mean, really, Magic is their Golden Goose right now. Apple Plus as a platform sucks. Don't let them buy Disney. So the rumor is that this is the reason Apple's going to buy Disney. It's really to combine the streaming networks, right? And build one streamer to murder them all. And Apple also has the money to finish off the Hulu acquisition, which Comcast is going to force next year.
Do we get into an issue of monopolization where two of the largest media companies...
But Apple's not a media company.
My ass.
The problem is the argument will be, the argument from them will be, Apple's a software and hardware company. We make phones, right?
Yes, they do.
They are completely...
No, you're right.
They are completely in a different vertical. That is the argument they will make. We're not in that vertical, right?
No, you're right.
Now, the question that you got to ask yourself is whether Disney wants all the hassle of running, or Apple wants all the hassle of running Disney, right? Apple is working on building some specific shows, and they're investing a ton of money into releasing new theatrical content over the next 5 years.
They're coming in hot. For how short it's been going,
they are dumping cash.
Yeah, they are.
They are dumping cash. It's insane. So
Almost like
again,
they're worth $1
to
trillion.
answer your chat topic, will Disney sell Star Wars back to Lucas? No. Will Disney sell Star Wars to anybody? No. Because nobody has the money. Like, buying Star Wars is too expensive. Again, they bought Lucasfilm for $4 billion.
Yeah.
So unless you're going to take a huge write-down on that, which they can't afford to do right now, who are you going to sell it to?
Well, they're kind of in it. Even if they wanted to sell it,
Who wants to buy it?
you're kind of in a corner of like, you've got this thing. It's kind of like if we were to.
If
know,
you
that's a
buy
bad
Star
example.
Wars tomorrow, you're 3 to 5 years from making an ROI. Period.
It's kind of like having $1 million house. It's like, well, your buyer market's pretty limited, and $1 million house. I'll give you an example. A house down the road from us in my rural town of Kentucky, right? They overbuilt it, like 8 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms. It's in the middle of an effing cornfield, and it was worth $500,000 when I left, and it's probably worth $1 million now. But it sat for 2 years because who wants to buy it? Who with $1 million for a house is gonna move to rural Kentucky? Very limited amount of people. So
Oh, for sure.
yeah,
Go ahead and grab that one out of the chat. Return on investment. Again, if you buy Disney, you're not going to get a return on the investment you're making into Disney or into Star Wars for 3 years, at least. So that's going to take us how long you're going to get before you get your first movie off the ground.
you really got to be looking for the future in that one.
Yep.
And in a time where we are very concerned with short-term profits, yeah, Odious, you're absolutely right. A Kentucky million's very different from an LA million. It is Mitchville. We won't talk about that though.
So somebody brought up them driving. Pathfinder apparently is dropping the ground. Apparently that's true. Okay, this makes sense.
Is it overpowered or?
No, it's too closely associated with D&D.
Oh, I just thought drow was a universal thing.
It looks like yeah, okay. I hadn't heard about this because I've been mildly in and out of it, and this one did not come across my desk. Apparently most of it has to do with again, Pathfinder dropping the OGL,
Yeah.
right? And so with Pathfinder getting rid of the OGL and stepping away from the OGL and doing anything with stuff that really came from D&D,
Yeah.
that's what they're doing.
Can you explain to me? Odious said dark elves are universal, not drow. Though.
Yes.
What's the difference? Is it just in name?
Names.
Okay.
Eldari. They're space elves.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Yeah, because of it's a lot of it has to do with the lore and stuff like that was built.
Woke cancellation. Probably to cover their ass legally.
Here's the thing. Like, these days especially, and this is the problem with the woke cancel people, like, the issue is this. If you're using the term woke unironically now, I automatically already know where you're at. Okay?
Right.
Like, no, I don't think that, I'm a lot of online chatters calling it woke cancellation. I don't think that has anything to do with it. That explanation of them moving away from the OGL and going, hey, look, we just don't want to use anything that is too close to OGL, like specific D&D, very D&D stuff. I fully understand why you would do that.
Thanks for the biddies, Necrotier.
Thank you for the bits again.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah, and apparently they're still going to have their Underdark, and they're going to have like Dwergar and other stuff. So the thing about news like this is my issue with news like this. I hate when it comes out this early because there's no context. Right? People have no idea what woke is because it became a generic term. Yeah, and that's the problem. It's moved. It's like what happened with politically correct back in the day, and it's the same thing.
My dad used the term woke ideology the other day on the phone, and I was like, "Where did you learn this? Come on."
Yeah.
Dad.
So again, the problem with news like this coming out is there's no context to it. let me see what they're doing with their Underdark in the new version of Pathfinder, right? Let us see what is happening.
So on that note, like Pathfinder Second Edition's been out for a minute now.
They're doing another like a revision of it
So,
to get away from the OGL stuff. They are trying to completely excise anything that could even be remotely that.
Okay.
They never want to run that risk again.
Okay.
What happened with the OGL stuff to everybody earlier this year? But I think anybody who really understands the business of this business, which sucks, understands that the real target of those OGL changes was Paizo. Right?
Yeah.
Paizo was the target of the OGL changes. Paizo is who they were going after. And Paizo they just don't want the hassle anymore.
Yeah.
They've got their core fan base. They know who it is. They do a good job. They just don't want to deal with it. Thank you for the subscription.
Oh, thank you for the sub, Nickertier.
Yeah, appreciate
you,
it,
buddy.
And steering clear of the OGL is smart. Now, D&D, and everybody forgets, there is still another version of the OGL coming, right?
It'll happen.
They've already said it's gonna happen. Now, all the 5th edition stuff and everything else has been pushed to Creative Commons, but something's gonna happen when the new not new edition of Dungeons and Dragons drops.
Yeah.
Like, that's a thing that's gonna happen.
5e, advanced 5e.
Advanced 5e, 5.5.
Coaching machine. Companies make decisions based on money. That's it. They want to make more. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, Jeremy?
That's really what it is.
I do find it funny that like it was relatively close, the whole OGL thing, and them using the Pathfinder creature.
Oh yeah,
accidentally.
on the D&D poster,
and
the movie poster.
It's a shame that didn't happen after the OGL thing, so Paizo couldn't be like, "Bitch, you want to run that back?"
Exactly.
You want to take a second?
Did the One Ring ever get pulled out the other day on stream? No, it did not. I'll be honest. I will not be surprised if the One Ring card never appears. For all I know, it's going to end up in some kid's hands who's 9.
As would be appropriate.
And he's going to be like, look at the cool One Ring card, and mangle the crap out of it. And then his parents will throw it away because this, and fucking in 3 years there's going to be 10 people walking into my shop being like, I had the One Ring card and my mom threw it away. That's
as would be appropriate for the lore.
Okay.
Necrontyr, we didn't pull the One Ring, but if you remember the land that you looked up that was $80, it's actually the whatever special foil, and full priced it, and it's actually worth like $800. So we did get some good pulls out of it.
We did get some good pulls. Those will be on the shelves tomorrow. I'm telling you, like, I will not be surprised if the One Ring never appears, right? And I honestly think it's one of the silliest gimmicks. And the thing is I think they're like, maybe people buy more collector boosters if we do this One Ring thing. No, they won't. No, they won't. Collector boosters, especially this set. We talked about this months ago. Go back and look at our YouTube history, right? We were online. Aside from Commander Masters later this summer, this set is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely ridiculously expensive.
It is very expensive.
I will let you know when that $800 card sells.
Now, we did say, and everyone in chat agreed during the openings, that like they really did a great job with this set. And I don't think it needs to be as expensive as it is, but they have murals where you stick cards together. And I said, if they're not going to make the cardboard thicker, at least they've done better with their printing, the art concepts, and their foil. This foil puts Aftermath special Halo foil to shame. Like Aftermath.
Yeah, Aftermath. The Aftermath epilogue set was a joke.
The foil printings for Aftermath are pixelated. Yeah, you can see the pixels, which feels dumb to say because it's in print, not on a monitor.
Murals like the OG Marvel collectible cards. That's my understanding. Yeah. I don't know if they're 9 card murals, but they're there. So
the overhead camera was focusing on. Yeah, Phil kept moving his hands, but that's a
again, if you have any topics, hey, TikTok chat, also YouTube and Twitch, if you have any other topics you'd like us to talk about, drop in the chat right now. We may go just a smidge longer today because we had a break from the Super Show. Thank you everybody for your support. Also, apparently YouTube changed their stuff, so if you're not subscribed to us on YouTube, go subscribe to us on YouTube because we might actually be closer to hitting partner there than we thought. So, yay for us, and that's really where we need to get to.
I'll just go ahead and say this. Dog Dad, about the Amazon money, I actually cut a video that I needed to commentate over before I post it, but I can just post it and unlist it and send you the link for walkthrough.
Final Fantasy 16. I really want to play it. I really, really, really want to play it.
So one of the big ads on Crunchyroll that runs is Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the ad rolls, and then the last one is Diablo 4. But before it popped up as Final Fantasy 16, I was like, "Are they making a new Devil May Cry?" Because it looks very similar to Devil May Cry.
It does kind of.
Yeah, which I'm not upset about.
No.
Yeah.
Look, 15 was great in my opinion.
Mhm.
15 was phenomenal in my opinion. I'm hoping. It looks like 16 is going to be really, really good.
Probably.
I'm super looking forward to it. I'm looking. So actually, we can bump this because all this came out during Summer Games Fest.
Yes.
We got some stuff on Final Fantasy 16, which actually comes out in 7 days. Smoke.
Cal said the demo's good.
Thank God. Because I'll tell you this, I've been struggling the last couple of weeks trying to find games to play. We do not have one of those YouTube plaques. You need 50,000 subs to get your first plaque. So
Yeah.
go sub to us.
You need a bit.
You need a bit.
Um,
The demo was good. I hope the demo was good.
Tears of the Kingdom, Diablo 4. Those are the big ones right now. I installed Car Mechanic Sim 2021 from Game Pass yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
If you like that, that's fun.
So I tried to do Far Cry 5. Now this is actually one area where spoilers get me. Because when Far Cry 5 first came out, I was in a spot in my life where I couldn't dive into it.
Chat, this is a big deal.
Okay.
We've been resistant to this for a while.
And so I finally downloaded Far Cry 5 on the Xbox, and I've been playing it. And the gameplay is great, and it's fun, and there's so many good things that I want to like about Far Cry 5. But this is where the spoilers are actually screwing it up for me. I don't think I'm going to play it anymore.
It's the ending.
The ending had gotten spoiled for me years ago,
Yeah.
and I was like, there's no good way to end it. Like, even with Cyberpunk 2077, where even all of them are kind of bad now, although apparently there's going to be a new one.
Yeah.
This Far Cry 5's endings are all bad they just suck.
Just do what I do.
They just suck.
And don't play the story. I have ADHD. If I see something cool, it's part of the reason I haven't beaten Tears of the Kingdom or gotten very far. I just run around and something cool happens. Yeah, I'm going towards that.
So I have a different type. So yes, I do that. That's why I won't play Tears of the Kingdom. I won't play Tears of the Kingdom because I know I will spend all of my time just building random crap and I will never finish that game.
It's really fun. Yeah.
You are on the wrong YouTube. It's at Gamers Heaven PNW. At Gamers Heaven PNW.
Actually, we have a bot command now. You can type !YT.
And it pops up. There you go.
Bam.
Right there. Problem is when you're a completionist. I'm not even a completionist because I won't. Look, the closest I've gotten was Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and I got 92%. Right?
Oh.
You know how they have the stuff that would show you how much of it you've gotten done between side quests and everything else? That is the furthest I've ever gotten. I have never 100%ed a game. I do like to finish them, though. Right?
Woo. That's a lot for Assassin's Creed.
I do like to finish the story, right? It's like Fallout 4, right? That was the reason I never ended up finishing Fallout 4. I got all the way to the end game, and then somehow the ending got told to me, and I was just like, I don't care about the ending anymore. So I just ran around and did stuff. Yeah. But then I stopped playing it because I was like, well, okay, I've done all that stuff.
I've had to adjust playing games to decide that I won't finish a game. And it's not that a conscious decision. I just know that I'm going to get distracted. And I've become okay with that. And I think it was Patton Oswalt that was talking about, he had a list. He's like, I have to finish all these games as if it's a job. He's like, it puts stress on it. And he's like,
So to answer somebody in chat, you're playing AC. I love this AC story. It's great. In my opinion, I love it. I enjoy it. I know it's campy and silly and goofy, but I really, really enjoy it. So what I do with a game like, say, take Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, where it's got a lot of side stuff, things like that.
Yeah.
Same thing with 4, like AC4. I will keep doing random side quests and things like that, but what I do is I'll get the game to the point where I'm about to finish it. Mm-hmm. Then I'll do all the stuff that I just kind of want to do until I get bored.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, well, now I can just go finish the story and put the game down, and I have a nice conclusion to end it.
Yeah.
Right? It's very rare that I go back for second playthroughs on story-heavy games.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk 2077 being One of the few that I'm working through again.
Yeah.
Right.
You get it for the bits, damn.
Yeah, thank you for the bits.
99% in Ori and the Blind Forest. You're a pro gamer.
Yeah,
The game's tough.
seriously. But Far Cry 5, I'm like, there's just no good way. Thank you for that, Necro here. There's no good way for me to finish this game. Like, there's just no, because I want these people to die. I do. I really do. I hate the bad guys. Like Far Cry 5, when I saw the previews for Far Cry, I was so excited. I was like, yes, mess up a stupid cult middle America. This is going to be great.
Yeah.
Right?
Did you get the bear?
No, I'm not there yet.
Oh, okay.
I just got the dog.
Fun fact: you can.
So now I'm gonna go try Far Cry 6.
You can teeter totter. So you have, mine was Dennis. You can get a sidekick or whatever. You can have them ride on the back of things, and if you run into a tree with the 4-wheeler, it will teeter totter, catapult, launch them through the air. That's one of my most fun things. Is actually like messing with the.
Am I gonna try the new Diablo? Probably.
Oh,
Probably. Again, that's one that I feel like I've got to have the time to sink into it, which I will probably have in about a week. The problem with the new Diablo is we're actually getting into this spot where I'm like, crap. Because Starfield is coming.
Yep.
Final Fantasy 16 is coming.
Yep.
Diablo's out. And I'm like, which one? Because all of those are time sinks.
But no life. You gotta no life it.
Starfield looks great.
What a time to be a teenager, though.
You know what? Do you know, it wasn't even like teenager. Do you know when I got most of my, when I got so many games like completion, is when I was in college. Like when I went back to college after my second deployment,
Yeah.
right? Is Starfield going to be on Game Pass? I hadn't seen any confirmation.
I would assume so. Crap.
I'm not
I just
assuming
saw-
anything.
I just saw it yesterday. I'm pretty sure it was a day one install.
But the question is, I don't know if I had to buy it. I don't know what Starfield is the first big game that Bethesda's releasing after their Microsoft acquisition. Is it PC? Starfield's, I think, all platforms. All platforms. Should be PC. I'm like 99%.
Hold on. Will Starfield be released on Game Pass? Will be released on September 6th. Come on.
Yeah, it's on Steam. You can buy it on PC.
Yes, it will be on Game Pass day one.
First day. Oh, yeah, nope. George is in the other chat saying Starfield's Game Pass first day.
That would
wow, that's worth 6 months worth of Star Pass or Game Pass right there.
I mean, they bought it to sell additional Game Pass. Like they bought. That's part of the reason they bought Bethesda.
Like I said, I am. But this is my problem. Is there so many games coming so rapidly that I'm like, crap. When am I going to get time? So because of that, Diablo's pretty low on my list right now. Final Fantasy 16 is high on my list. When is that new Star Wars game? The new Star Wars game by Ubisoft looks great.
Oh crap!
Man, that one looks really, really fun.
Still got 2.5 years of Game Pass Ultimate left. Oh, did you buy the console? I did.
Next
I
year.
did the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, Outlaws comes out next year. That looks like it's going to be how is September rapid? Because time is compressing as I get older. It's June now. I'm going to blink, and it's going to be freaking the middle of September. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I blinked and we went from February to June.
It happens.
You realize that we closed the store for the remodel 4 months ago.
It just time keeps turning, man.
Especially when you have kids. Yes,
Yes.
for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't wait for Outlaws. Star Wars Outlaws looks great.
Starfield will be on Xbox and PC only.
No PlayStation. That's interesting.
Well, PlayStation's got Final Fantasy 16 only.
I guess that's true.
I think we covered that.
We've talked so many times about all the various exclusive fights. On that, Here's the thing: we may have video games for a while because TV. In case you didn't hear, SAG voted to strike, so we'll see at the end of this month.
That's right.
They authorized a strike vote by 97%. The Directors Guild has come to a tentative agreement, but I haven't heard whether they actually agreed to it yet, fully or not. Whether the membership has voted on it. The Writers Guild's still on strike, and if the Actors Guild goes out, this goes back to the Spiderverse stuff, because Haley Steinfeld's saying she hasn't recorded any lines for Beyond the Spiderverse, and it comes out next year. And if SAG goes on strike, that's it. Like, done. The Daredevil show has stopped production. The new Batman has stopped production. What else? I saw a bunch of stuff that's just recently, last day or so.
So we're getting all these like
So there
crazy
was a
comic book films this year, and now they're just gonna be like, nah.
There's a bunch that just stopped.
Yeah, side with labor. No. I'm sure you don't assume this about us, but I just want to be clear. Like, we're not against.
No, I'm not against the strike.
I'm bummed that we won't have the stuff, but me as a consumer, that is secondary to those people's like what they're worth.
Yeah.
So
no,
y'all
for
strike.
sure.
Do it.
No, I support. I fully support what they're doing right now.
Dr. Horrible 2, here we go.
Probably. So Daredevil has shut down. They've halted development on Spider-Man 4.
Okay. Wow. I know I'm getting old because it feels like not too long ago that Tom Holland became Spider-Man.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, if you want to catch up on shows like old animes, now's the time to do it because it's about to be done.
I'm gonna be on, I actually finally subscribed to Crunchyroll again the other night because we've ran through so much stuff that I'm like, there's nothing to watch. So I was just like, anime it is.
We finished out most of the seasons that we watch, like where we keep them in season. Yeah. No, I think it's going to be going backlog in video games. So, but yeah, it looks like SAG is probably going to strike. What are you watching on Crunchyroll right now, Pete?
I've been for years wanting to watch Mob Psycho 100.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally was like, you know what? Let's do it. Because I love One Punch. And I didn't know. So I'm, like I said, Spiderverse, super into the art side of things. The art in Mob Psycho 100 is crazy. Like, nuts.
Dog Dad, before we get into this, you asked what's this about a new Batman. We covered this during the spoiler section.
There's spoilers.
Okay, so here's what I will say that's not a spoiler. This has all been publicly available. In the new DCU, they are doing a new Batman film, and the new Batman film is supposedly going to be based on Brave and the Bold, right? Mm-hmm. Which involves Damian Wayne.
He said, never mind.
Okay.
Fair.
So there is a bunch. Jujutsu Kaisen is coming out soon. New season of Demon Hunter.
Jujutsu Kaisen's good.
So yeah, again, to kind of recap on this without spoilers, right? We know that James Gunn is building a new DCU, and then there will be Elseworlds content that will be under the Elseworlds banner. Mm-hmm. The new Joker movie, Elseworlds. The Batman with Robert Pattinson. That's still, the second one of those is still coming. Supposedly, they're going, who are they going with? I had heard the other day who they were going to do for the villain, and now I can't remember. So, The Brave and the Bold is going to be the new Batman. Superman Legacy is going to be a younger Superman, so they're starting younger. But if they're doing Brave and the Bold, it's going to be an older Batman. So we're thinking Clark Kent in his mid-20s, Batman in his 40s.
So, big production Smallville?
I don't think they're going that young, not high school.
Okay.
My understanding so far is it's going to be just after he gets to Metropolis. Like early Superman. Not an origin story, though.
Right.
But him trying to figure out who he is going to be as Superman.
I was going to say, do we need to rehash DC's origin stories anymore?
I don't think we need to rehash pretty much any comic book characters. There were some rumors that we think we might have gotten the final casting on Fantastic Four from the MCU, which is interesting who they're getting. And again, all the comic book crossovers. So the rumor is Mr. Fantastic will be paid by Adam Driver.
Oh, that's official now?
No, but it's such a strong rumor that everybody's kind of running.
I dig it.
So
I like him.
Adam Driver as Mr. Fantastic, Margot Robbie as Sue Storm.
Okay.
No name dude who I forget for Johnny Storm. And the interesting one to me is David Diggs as the Thing. How can we see unless Deadpool 4? I don't care. Deadpool 3 is not out yet.
Where's Kamal? Kamal Nanjiani.
He was in the one.
I just need him in everything.
Oh. I like how awkward he is as a human. Yeah, I'm curious how Adam, if it's true, Adam Driver as Mr. Fantastic is definitely an interesting pick. He is an Oscar caliber level actor. He's a great actor. If you haven't seen Marriage Story, again, one of those ones that if you like if you're like, oh, I want to see this because it's a good film. It is a great film. It is phenomenal acted by him and Scarlett Johansson. I would never watch it again. It is so depressing.
Bro, I've been through that. I don't need to.
What about Jim from The Office, Mr. Fantastic? That was, again, multiverse out there. I think they did that because so many people had fan casted it.
I was going to say, he's already built like a truck now.
Yeah.
It would make sense.
Look, I liked John Krasinski in Multiverse of Madness as Mr. Fantastic. I was thrilled when he came on screen. Thrilled. And again, I personally was one of the people that said, don't just let Krasinski act in it. Go ahead and let him direct it. He's a great director. He's a good or a good writer. He does the Jack Ryan show now. I think that's going into its final season, though. I think that's done. So the Jack Ryan show, I think, is done. After this season that they're about to release.
Maybe I can stop watching ads for it.
You know, like,
I am so sorry. Can I, for a second?
Go ahead.
Between effing John Krasinski as Jack Ryan and who is it? Is it Chris Pratt or whatever as Jack Reacher or whatever? I don't know because they're all named Jack. They're all military dudes of I've been exiled, I'm a military guy, or I'm the hero, raw. But we need to tell it in 12 episodes of a season. But we also need 6 different shows about it. I don't fucking care. And I've seen enough ads for it that I've watched the same amount of roll time as the entire goddamn show. I'm watching Food Wars. Oh, Hawaii, you made a sushi roll. And then it's like, Jack Reacher. I'm like, what? Why would you pick this to advertise to me? I'm sorry. It feels like it's been years, and it's also Twitch ads. I'm like, can we please?
The funny thing is Jack Ryan in the book, the original books, Jack Ryan is not like a big buff military guy. Like, he's a guy who was briefly in the Marines.
Right.
Like, got out of the Marines because he was physically unable, like he broke his back or something like that.
Okay.
Right? While he was in the Marine Corps. And the whole thing with Jack Ryan is he's a nerdy professor.
I wouldn't know that from the ads.
And the Harrison Ford version of Jack Ryan was more like that, right?
Okay.
He's a nerdy professor, dude. Like, he's like, I teach history at the Naval Academy, right? Like,
Naval Academy.
That's what he does. Like, he eventually, now in the books, he eventually becomes president. There's a whole bunch of stuff with Jack Ryan. That whole series, like, runs a bunch of stuff. Rainbow Six is connected to that. The original Rainbow Six book is connected to the whole Jack Ryan series of books. Like, there's a whole like Ryan-verse in the Tom Clancy novels.
I'm sorry. Tell us how you really feel. I'm sorry that has been held in for years, and at this point, if I may, if I see based on Tom Clancy novel, I'm like, eat my ass. Next. Like, I'm just so done with
It's
it.
funny because everybody adapts Clancy, but they do it in such weird ways. It's really hard. His books are so dense, and I've read a bunch of his books. His books are so dense. Like, if you were going to do Rainbow Six, you could, and actually, the premise of Rainbow Six, like, what's old is new again, would actually be really interesting now. Rainbow Six, you would have to do either as a series, or you'd have to do, like, a trilogy because it's so. There's so much that happens in it. Like it's
Right.
it's like this thick,
Yeah.
right? And
He's written a lot of stuff.
he's written a crap ton of stuff. Hunt for Red October. Then there's some stuff in the Jack Ryan verse where Jack Ryan was written initially back during the Cold War,
Wow.
right? The character of Jack Ryan, and so like the Hunt for Red October, where this Soviet Russian subcaptain, the Soviet subcaptain, is defecting. Right? That's
Yeah.
the whole thing. He's defecting to the United States with this new super technological Soviet sub that will freaking destroy everything. That was the whole, like, that's Hunt for Red October, Patriot Games, Clear and Present Danger, like, all this stuff, like, Clancy was writing contemporaneously for the time that it was written in.
Yeah.
And he just basically was inserting Jack Ryan and the cast O characters.
See, these explanations make me kind of interested in it. Maybe this is just an oversaturation of ads.
I think there's a chance you would enjoy the books.
Possibly.
Again, they're fairly dense, but they are extremely technically accurate. Clancy does an immense amount of research on the military technology that is. It is pretty. There are times where it gets a little America porny,
Yeah.
but there are times when he's hypercritical of U.S. foreign policy. And U.S. foreign policy comes back to bite them in the ass multiple times in those books.
So what I'm gathering from this is the actual story I might enjoy, but there is a oversaturation of ads. There's some ad slots that only big buyers like Amazon can afford to pay or overpay in order to oversaturate.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
then there's also this desire, and over the last 10 years, to Michael Bay the shit out of every ad for anything of
Oh, yeah.
Jack Ryan. Whereas really, like you said, I'm actually work in a lab, hello, and technical, I wouldn't know that from the ads because we've got black screen title, and then
again,
explosion.
And the funny thing is, if you go back to the Harrison Ford versions, Red October, Patriot Games, and Current Present Danger, Harrison Ford does play the more nerdy, like the action in it is minimal, right?
You wouldn't know that, though.
Again, because at the CIA, Jack Ryan, when he's at CIA, he's an analyst. He sits at a desk and goes, I think this is what's going to happen. And they go, let's find out. And then they go find out. Like, he is not that guy.
So Odious, and I know I've made Odious, I made this point before I think you joined us, I made this point months ago. Odious says, how you feel about Jack Ryan is how I feel about The Last of Us. So you remember whenever The Last of Us 2 came out, or even the first one, I was like, I'm ready for this game release so we can stop talking about it. Because like everything is just pushed on you. So yeah, no, that makes sense though. I think it's one of those things where I would be more apt to pay attention to it if it wasn't being so oversaturated in my face all the time. So
Oh, for sure.
I think I just had a little breakthrough on the stream here. Thank you.
I also love the Patriot Games movie from back in the 90s, the Harrison Ford Patriot Games, which was great because it had Sean Bean in it as the bad guy.
Oh my gosh.
And of course he dies.
Of course he
does. A, he's the bad guy. But the thing is like Patriot Games was actually about the IRA, right? Like they don't just be like brown people as the villain. Like Hunt for October is about the Russians. Patriot Games is about the Irish Republican Army back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Clear and Present Danger is about us supplying, it's kind of a mix between Iran-Contra and like the war on drugs. Like it has to do with Central American cartels.
Oh man, that's
right? Like, but it's good because this is again another one where it's like, and American freaking foreign policy comes back to bite it in the butt, right?
Taylor's all the time.
The other, actually, no, I'm not going to get into that because there's something that happens in one of the Jack Ryan novels, or that he wrote back in '99. That if you read it, you're going to go, oh, he was inspired by this, and then you're going to read it and you're going to go, if you're going to look at the copyright, and you're going to go, oh wait, that was '99.
Yeah.
Oh no. So.
Glad mental health. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
The Bodyguard song is terrible.
I hope my rant wasn't
Going back
too
to
much
it,
for you all.
I liked Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic. I would have given him the whole film. Maybe they just couldn't get a deal done. Who knows? I'm really looking forward to San Diego Comic-Con because I think we're going to get a lot of confirmation of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
that's coming. DC now has me really curious. And I'm
Man.
waiting for Gunn. Now, here's the thing. Even if Gunn denies it, and he's very active on Twitter,
Mhm.
I don't know if I believe him. You know, it's kind of like when Andrew Garfield was denying he was in the new Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not in it. I'm not in it. I'm not in it. And I'm like, I just assume you guys are all lying now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fair. That's- even when he was like, I'm not in, I was like, yeah, okay, buddy.
So,
But also, you then, from that moment forward for like the next 10 years, you don't have plausible deniability for things. If you're like, oh, no, I'm not in that, like, people are just like, sure.
we believe you. I'm contractually obligated to say this. What are you contractually obligated to say?
Oh,
curious.
that he's not in it. I think that was
Oh, yes.
contractually obligated to say I'm not in the movie.
Yeah, again, it's we just don't believe them anymore. You know.
Odious is not in it.
No, you're not in it? Okay. All right, guys. It's 1:15. That's what we call it. We open the store at 3 o'clock. Again, pre-release is tomorrow. I'm glad you guys enjoyed us coming back. Don't worry, we're going to be back for more content.
Yes.
We will hopefully be back on our normal streaming-ish schedule next week.
Yes.
Although Pete and I are going to have some conversations because I know some stuff happened while I was gone where we think we may jumble it up a little bit as far as our schedule
Yes.
and what we're going to be doing. But Super Show will still wait around. We love content.
Well,
Thank you again for the bits.
Thank you for the biddies. Sorry I dominated the last
No, you're good.
talking about Jack Ryan.
So, all right. So y'all
Thank you,
come see
dudes.
us at the store. And remember,
Drink water. Mwah.
take care of yourselves.
Here's your end song. The end song. Bye.